Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out, Part 7, the fabulous Freebirds. Unfortunately, though, there's no Buddy Roberts anymore. He is gone. He has disappeared. There's a couple of matches that we find him at, but for some reason, Buddy Roberts he shows up in Kansas City a few times, but I'm not for sure where he goes because there's not many matches that show where he's at. But Michael Hayes is on his way back to Georgia Championship Wrestling. But this time he's not. Did they call him the Fabulous Freebird on this?
They did at the first. I believe they sure did.
But I believe it in the next couple of months they don't call him Fabulous Freebird anymore. They just call him Michael Hayes. But the Freebirds are still there. The original Freebirds, Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, are going to start feuding with each other. And I believe Jack, you're going to start us off.
July the 1st, 1981, Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia. Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase defeated Terry Gordy and Ken Patera. And then on the 4th, VFW Fairgrounds in Carrollton, Georgia, Ted DiBiase and Steve O defeated Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy. Also on the 4th, WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Abe Jacobs and Bobby Garrett. And then on the 5th, in the Omni in Atlanta, Butch Reed and George Wells defeated Greg the Hammer Valentine and Terry Gordy. Then on the 6th, the Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Steve-O and Ted DiBiase to win the NWA National Tag Team titles. And then on the 8th, Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka versus Steve-O and Mr. Wrestling number 2, winner unknown. And then July the 9th, 1981, Cobb County Civic Center in Marietta, Georgia, Steve-O defeated Terry Gordy by disqualification.
Terry Gordy had a lot of tag team partners during this point in time, but they do win the national or Georgia tag team titles. I'm not for sure what they said they were, but against Steve-O and Ted DiBiase on July the 11th, 1981, at the WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. The new champions, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka, they do a quick little interview, and then Bruce Reed and George Wells defeated Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka by disqualification. Jimmy Snuka comes off the top rope with a knee while Gordy was holding. Nick Patrick looks over and disqualifies Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka. I don't understand why he got disqualified in this match because he was coming off so was a knee? Was that a disqualification in Georgia?
Was it apparently a prone? Yes, knee off the top rope was a disqualification, or elbow off the top rope was a disqualification. Laying prone on the mat was a disqualification.
Well, they was not just laying prone. Nick Terry Gordy he was holding them. And up in the air.
Maybe Nick did not completely understand the rule then.
Have y'all seen the match? Jack, have you seen this match? Bruce Reed, George Wells against Terry Gordy?
I have not.
Tremendous match, by the way. It is available on YouTube. You actually go, you say July the 11th, 1981, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and the whole show actually comes up. Tremendous match. Terry Gordy, Jimmy Snuka, and I want to be honest with George Wells was tremendous in this match. With a later become Master G and Mid-South Wrestling, wasn't that great there, but I thought he was very good here. All right, Rodney.
All right, we come to Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling on July the 12th, 1981. Civic Center in Savannah, Georgia's Mr. Wrestling 2 and Sweet Ebony Diamond defeating Michael Hayes and Buddy Roberts. Then we go to Memorial Gym in Rome, Georgia on July the 17th, 1981. It's Terry Gordy versus Tommy Rich back at Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. On July the 17th, 1981, at the Lawrence Joel Veterans Memorial Coliseum, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Gina and Ole Anderson defeats Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes.
Well, evidently, they were able to team together in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But the very next day, it must have been the match that they had with Gina and Ole Anderson in Winston-Salem, North Carolina that really caused the grief. between them, because the next day, July 18th, 1981, the WTBS studios in Atlanta, Georgia, Michael Hayes returns to Georgia, and it was a tremendous interview. He tells stories. And I know that in one part of this, Michael Hayes says, you've got the young people's got to have something to look up to. And even Gordon Soley in the interview kind of chuckles and says, well, you mean the right way, right? You remember this, Rodney?
Yes, I do. And Michael Hayes does blame Ole Anderson for their split up.
Yes.
In the interview, he does say Ole Anderson pulled a fast one on them. And that could have been very well been. There was a match with Ole and Gene against the Freebirds in Atlanta, and then this one, and this is what he may be talking about for those.
And it could have been. Jack, do you remember Michael Hayes' interview when he came back to Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
He would gone for about 6 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Tremendous interview.
Yes.
And what a reaction from the wrestling fans.
At first, though, they weren't buying it. The people were not buying it. But by the time he was finished, I think he had him.
Yeah, he truly did have him. And this match and this television, Jimmy Snuka, Terry Gordy defeated Zane Hickey and Jimmy Powell during this match. Jimmy Powell was very good, by the way, in this match. And then the same television, which would have been probably the second hour of Georgia Championship Wrestling, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Ted DiBiase and Steve O by disqualification. Michael Hayes was at ringside with Gordon Soley, and Michael Hayes hits the ring when Terry Gordy goes on the top rope, and so he gets the disqualification. No wonder Terry Gordy comes out later on, coming up, and gets very upset with Michael Hayes. He had a reason to. All right, Jack.
July the 19th, 1981, the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka, the champions, defeated Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase to retain the NWA National Tag Team titles. July the 20th, 1981, Bell Auditorium, Augusta, Georgia, Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy defeated Bruno Sammartino Jr. and Ted DiBiase. And then for Southeastern Championship Wrestling on the 21st in Mobile, Alabama, Michael Hayes versus Ron Fuller. And then on the 22nd of July, Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia, Ted DiBiase, Tommy Rich, and Bruce Reed defeated Terry Gordy, Jimmy Snuka, and Ken Patera. And then Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga on the 25th, Terry Gordy defeated Steve-O by disqualification. And Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, Cincinnati Gardens in Cincinnati, Ohio on the 25th, Paul Jones and Johnny Weaver defeated Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy.
Do you think this match actually took place?
Well, different territory, because it possibly could.
That would confuse the heck
out of all over the world.
Yeah, that confused the heck out of people.
I'm pretty sure they did some kind of angle in that.
I bet you're right.
It's just that just would be so hard to believe that would have took place. But July 25th, 1981, Michael Hayes, the week before, comes back on television, sticks his nose in Terry Gordy's business. And Terry Gordy comes out on television and tells Michael Hayes that he would like now at the beginning of this show. Tommy Rich is out at the beginning of the show. They open the show. Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase won the Georgia Tag Team title, National Tag Team titles. Here comes Terry Gordy, Jimmy Snuka out. He has a piece of paper, and he tells Tommy Rich, why don't you read this? Oh, I'll wait just a minute, Tommy Rich. I remember you can't read. So Gordon, you read this for the man so he understands. Rodney, do you remember this?
Yes, I remember that. It was awesome. He said, here you, Tommy, if you can, no, well, you can't read. Here, Gordon, you read that for that boy.
During the match, Michael Hayes in the Omni in Atlanta. During the match, Michael Hayes comes out. The referee gets knocked down. So Michael Hayes comes out. He counts the 3 count. and he awards the titles to Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase. Well, the president of the National Wrestling Alliance, which I believe was Bob Geigel at the time, he tells him that he has to give the belt back. The belts have to be back. And Tommy Rich says this. Well, who's out there crying the blues? I think it was Tommy crying the blues about that. Because really, Terry Gordy wasn't crying the blues. He was just telling them that Michael Hayes. Then he calls Michael Hayes. Terry Gordy calls Michael Hayes out to the desk and tells him he don't want his family to have anything to do. So he has a cup, that raised cup, silver cup, and he says, here, I don't want my family and my boy to have anything to do with you, Michael Hayes. So you take that cup and give it to your own boy when he's born. You understand? Because I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Michael says, no, I'm not going to take that. I have nothing against Ray. I have nothing against your family. And then he steps on that poor little cup and gives it back and says, you give it to your own boy when he's born, because I won't have nothing to do with you. Tremendous television. Awesome. Jack, do you remember this?
Yeah, I do. That was good stuff.
Tremendous television. It was great stuff. And on the same television, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeat Mike Jackson and somebody. I'm not for sure who it was. All right, Rodney?
Come up to the City Auditorium, Addison, Alabama, on July the 26th, 1981. Jimmy Snuka, Terry Gordy versus Tommy Rich and Mr. Wrestling 2. Bell Auditorium, Augusta, Georgia, on July the 27th, 1981. It's Tommy Rich, Steve Armstrong, Steve O, and George Wells defeating Jimmy Snuka, Terry Gordy, and Ken Patera. Southeastern Championship Wrestling in Birmingham on July the 27th, 1981. Michael Hayes versus Ron Fuller. Winner was unknown. That was a bounty match. Macon Coliseum, Macon, Georgia, on July the 28th, 1981. Terry Gordy defeated Ted DiBiase. Southeastern Championship Wrestling, Mobile, Alabama, on July the 28th. 1981, Jimmy Golden and Michael Hayes win against Ken Lucas and Ron Fuller. Municipal Auditorium, Columbus, Georgia, on July the 29th, 1981. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Ted DiBiase and Bruce Reed. Cobb County Civic Center, Marietta, Georgia, on July 30th, 1981. Ted DiBiase, Michael Hayes, and Steve O defeated Terry Gordy, Jimmy Snuka, and Ken Patera. Then at WTBS Studios on August the 1st, 1981, in Atlanta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Phil Landrum and Mike Fever in probably, and I'm sure that was a tremendous upset. Everybody knew that it was just going to be the night for Phil and Mike Fever to win that match.
August 1st, 1981, WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Georgia. Michael Hayes is going to go against El Toro in a bounty match. Terry Gordy comes out and says he didn't want to filthy his hands on that Michael Hayes, that he brought in El Toro, and El Toro was going to take him out. Well, Michael Hayes wins the match. El Toro does not get the bounty because Michael Hayes pile drives him in the middle of the ring. Gordy hits the ring, and they're having a great fight with each other. Jimmy Snuka hits the ring. They throw Michael Hayes outside on the concrete and rub his face into the concrete and then throw him back in and rub his face on the mat. I did not love this for some reason. I didn't like it then for some reason, when I went back and watched it again. Jack, what did you think about this angle?
I honestly don't really remember that one.
Well, there's probably a reason for that. Rodney, what do you think?
Well, it was a shock that TBS allowed it to be showed in the first place. It was okay, I guess. Did something very similar with Steamboat and Flair in Carolinas. They thought possibly maybe it would get over there. Honestly, Hayes was having a difficult time of getting over the people. That was something everybody suspected him from day one. And I'm not sure quite how you can overcome that. I think if what we talked about, if it was flipped, if it was Michael Hayes being with Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy I think it would have worked out better. But it's just for some reason, people were really not buying Michael Hayes at this point. But as far as I thought it was fine. I thought Gordon's commentary was a little suspicious of the, his Michael Hayes, his ego being bruised up there. I kind of wondered about that, but I don't know. It was exciting, I guess. But as far as memorable, no, I don't think so.
And it was a few, maybe 2 weeks later, Michael Hayes comes out with nothing wrong with his face. So I don't know. I don't know what.
Well, also, Michael was, he liked to dabble in women's cosmetics and probably covered it up with all kinds of makeup.
All right, Jack, with that one, I guess we'll go. We'll continue on.
August the 1st, 1981, VFW Fairgrounds in Carrollton, Georgia. Jimmy Snuka defeated Michael Hayes by disqualification. And then on the 3rd, the Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Michael Hayes defeated Jim Duggan. Then on the 4th, Macon Coliseum in Macon, Georgia, Dusty Rhodes defeated Terry Gordy by disqualification. And that was an NWA World Heavyweight title match. Then August the 5th, a Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia, Terry Gordy defeated Bruce Reed. Then on the 6th, City Auditorium in Waycross, Georgia, Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy defeated Michael Hayes and Ted DiBiase. Then on the 8th, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Dusty Rhodes defeated Terry Gordy, again, a world title match. Also on the 8th, WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Abe Jacobs and Rick Thor. Also on the 8th, at the studios, Terry Gordy, Jimmy Snuka, and Mike Sharp defeated Bruce Reed, Abe Jacobs, and Ricky Johnson. Then on the 9th, the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy, the champions, defeated Ted DiBiase and Michael Hayes and retained the NWA National Tag Team titles. Then on the 9th, also the Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia, Terry Gordy defeated Ted DiBiase in a Texas death match. On the 10th, Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Tommy Rich and Ted DiBiase. And then on the 15th, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Terry Gordy defeated Ted DiBiase in a Tennessee street match. And then on August the 15th, 1981, Municipal Auditorium in Columbus, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka versus Michael Hayes and Mr. Wrestling 2 ended without a winner as a double disqualification.
We need to go back just for a moment and talk about Dusty Rhodes and Terry Gordy in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And somewhere I've got the interview, but Dusty Rhodes comes out and he says, let me tell you something, Terry Gordy. They're only going to be about 2 people that care that you're going to even go against the World Heavyweight Champion. And he says it's going to be his mother and his father. And he says, and you're not going to win. A great interview. You remember that interview, Rodney?
I sure did. And the Memorial Auditorium was something I don't sure that Dusty was expecting, because in that match, Terry Gordy was the one people were cheering for.
Yes,
it was hometown, and yeah, it was quite different, and it could have been the interview that Dusty did purposely.
Dusty did an interview to say that nobody cared that he was from Chattanooga, Tennessee, that nobody will even care. I think he did the interview on purpose. I really, truly believe he did.
Yeah, it flipped the crowd for sure, and it was amazing.
And a great match, by the way, they had. August 15th, 1981, in the WTBS studios in Atlanta, Georgia, Michael Hayes makes a big deal about having a partner. And that partner is going to be Andre the Giant in the Omni in Atlanta. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Bruce Reed and Jerry Mahoney. Gordy and Snuka win the match again with the top rope. Snuka goes to the top rope and does a splash and does the claw on the throat, which made no sense to me. Then Kevin Von Erich was doing an interview. And with Gordon Soley, Terry Gordy comes to the desk and says, you know what? You might mean something in Texas, but you don't mean nothing here in Georgia. So you just go on. Because we need to be the one talking right now. Do you remember this, Rodney?
Yes, I do. That was good stuff. Terry had a great voice for one thing, and the way he talked is his body language. It was good. It was very good.
All right, Rodney.
All right, then we come up to Municipal Auditorium, Columbus, Georgia, on August 15th, 1981. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka versus Michael Hayes and Mr. Wrestling 2, and ended in a double disqualification. Bell Auditorium, Augusta, Georgia, on August 17th, 1981. Terry Gordy defeated Ted DiBiase in a lights-out Texas death match. Macon Coliseum, Macon, Georgia, on August the 18th, 1981. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka versus Michael Hayes and Tommy Rich. Double disqualification there.
For some reason, during this point in time, Ted DiBiase never was on television.
No, I think he was moving on.
I guess he was doing television for Bill Watts at the time when they were actually doing TV at the TV station, because he never made television. On August 22nd, 1981, WTBS Studios in Atlanta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Rick Thor and Jimmy Powell. The same thing. They come off the top rope. It's just. And this deal, though, interview with Michael Hayes, Terry Gordy actually comes out and he tears Terry Gordy's jacket. And boy, he was hot for him tearing his jacket. Not because he had a problem with what it cost, because he made a fool out of Terry Gordy. He was crying. Jack, do you remember seeing this?
No, this was in my transition period of going to Germany, so I didn't get to see any of this stuff.
Rod, do you remember this?
Yeah, this is when Hayes started calling Baby Huey, and they had the baby bottle matches coming up. Yeah,
great stuff. And I'll tell you what made it great. Michael Hayes came back out and said, "I don't hear old baby. He would come out there crying." He said, "You know them jackets he got? They couldn't cost no more than $15. He came out with like $100 and said, 'Here, you can buy you a couple of these jackets and quit crying about it.'" Was tremendous stuff. And then Michael Hayes and Tommy Rich teamed up on television that same on the 22nd of August, defeated Bobby Garrett and David Sierra. Hayes actually beats Bobby Garrett with the pile driver during this tremendous stuff. Just you have to admit that Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes were very entertaining for what they did during this time period. They really were. Okay, I've lost the thing that I just so whoever's next.
That's me. August the 23rd, 1981, Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka versus Tommy Rich and Michael Hayes. And then on the 24th, Bell Auditorium in Augusta, Georgia, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Michael Hayes and Kevin Von Erich by disqualification.
All right, am I coming up next? Is that
yeah? You want me to do your part?
Where was it? Where was you at now? Oh, okay. You entered this order. Here it is. All right, I got it back. I got rid of it for some reason. August 22nd. Is that where we're at? No, we're past that. All right, let's
29th.
29th, TBS Studios. Before the match, Kevin Von Erich is doing an interview again, and Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka interrupt him again, and he tells them the same thing. You don't mean nothing here. You're a big star in Texas, but you'll never mean nothing in Georgia, which he was truly telling the truth. He never meant nothing in Georgia. He didn't get over in Georgia. Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Keith Larson and Denny Brown. Snuka, again, goes to the top rope. Now, this I like. Jimmy Snuka goes to the top rope, gives the splash. Terry Gordy comes in, then pile drives Denny Brown. I thought that was tremendous. Maybe somebody said, man, this ain't making no sense. August 29th, 1981, WTBS Studios, Terry Gordy and Jimmy Snuka defeated Don Gilbert and Rick Benefield. Michael Hayes, Andre the Giant make their way to ringside and watch them during the whole match. And they have an interview with Michael Hayes and Andre the Giant, a different type of interview that I ever saw with Andre. He told him to keep on bringing the, I think he asked him what kind of liquor he liked. And he said, well, you keep on bringing it, and I'll keep on beating and drinking during the Omni show. And the Omni was Michael Hayes and Andre the Giant on August 29th, 1981, against Jimmy Snuka and Terry Gordy. And that is part 7. We will soon do part 8 of the fabulous Freebirds. Rodney, your final thoughts on it.
Right at the beginning, once I believe DiBiase was gone, I think once he was gone, I think this is when people started to buy Michael Hayes, because by the time he was teaming with Kevin Von Erich, let's just be honest, Michael was just overshadowing Von Erich real bad. So, and it's not Von Erich's fault. It's not Von Erich. Kevin made a terrible mistake when he first came in by smarting off to Gordon Solie when he first asked the first question. He started his interview, and that really, I think, stuck a nail in the coffin for Von Erich to get over, and actually never did. Even though they tried. But yeah, I think by this point, once DiBiase was gone, then people started to buy Hayes.
Didn't Kevin Von Erich come off the top rope too? Splash.
He was doing some kind of leg scissor, body scissors into that I remember. He was doing the leg.
He was wearing boots too, by the way.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
And
it was.
Yeah, he was pretty much required by every promoter outside of Texas to wear boots, because he wore them in Florida, he wore them in Missouri. So,
well, Jimmy Snuka was the only one. No, Jimmy Snuka was wearing boots at the time, wasn't he?
Yes.
When Jimmy was a heel, he wore boots.
I think if Kevin would have embraced the family thing, would have helped him in Georgia, but he didn't. And I think that was where Gordon was taking him. And then he said, "No, I don't want to talk about that. I'm here to talk about me." And boy, that was the coup de grace.
Yeah. Do you know that Bruno Sammartino Jr. did the same exact thing? I mean, the exact same thing. Just kind of this.
My question is, that was taped. Would you not have had him redo it?
Yes, I think I would have.
Now he gets in the car with us. We were going to Columbus. He gets in the car, and he asked. He said something, and I had to tell him. I said, I just want to give you a little word of advice, if I could. When Gordon Solie asks you a question, answer the question, because right now you're dead on arrival. You just as well to pack it on up and go on to Texas, because you're not going to get over here. And well, we were just as matter of fact as that. And then he said, "Yeah, I knew it when I said it. Dad's going to be calling me come 11:30 tonight. I'm going to be dreading that call, because he's going to see it, and I'm going to get it."
Yeah, that was not a smart move on Kevin. But Kevin kind of had an attitude too, a kind of a little different attitude on television that just didn't set well with the wrestling fans in Georgia. They were used to the humble babyface, not the arrogant one that he was.
Are you talking about when he had the handkerchief on his neck and he kissed it and throwed it in the ground? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't understand what the handkerchief thing about, because Michael Hayes did the same thing. So I don't know what was going on there with the handkerchief. We were missing Jack at this point in time, because we were only like 10,
I don't understand that either.
Charles, we're going to talk to the insiders right now. Charles said he's been making his monthly payment of $2.99 and toward my T-shirt, and have yet to receive it. Well, I don't remember that being in the.
You're only 6 years away.
Aaron is with us.
The shirt straight up is not that expensive, but interest, woo!
Let's see. I don't know for sure who that person is. Richard Hood is checking in with us.
Oh, Aaron's our guy there. Aaron.
Aaron. Yeah, Aaron. We know who Aaron is, but there's just somebody else down below.
Okay.
It is. But I could say their name, but I don't know who it is. So they're watching on our Twitch channel, by the way.
Okay. Are you talking BBB Junior?
Yeah. Well, hello to you.
Yeah. Hello, buddy. Glad to have you here.
Terry Gordy was a great big man in wrestling. Yes,
he really was.
Let's see. I do not like matches where titles are held up. I have never liked that either. I've never been a fan of that. Let's see. Anybody know who's Terry Mecca? Yeah, Terry Mecca. That was his first. I was seeing him on that. That was International Championship Wrestling, right? Wasn't it the name of it?
I believe so.
And I believe it was against Ernie Ladd, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
And Terry was good.
Yes.
Michael Barr said TBS wrestling on Saturday nights was a big thing back in my teenage years. Yes, it was huge. You know, when you talk about numbers, they were impressive numbers for that time period. And remember, cable was pretty well new. 1976, 78 was pretty well new, but a lot of people had cable just to watch wrestling for a lot of the times.
I had an antenna, and you had to get it a certain way to pick it up, and you could either get sound or picture on the morning show, but you get both on the evening show.
Let's see. Richard Hood. Jimmy would look wild and crazy at times doing interviews back then because I don't think he was wild and crazy. Especially crazy part might have been. Michael Barr, as we were choosing our top 100 wrestlers, I guess it would be okay to say who our favorites were, depending on what region we lived in. Southeastern Alabama was only there. Yes, sure. And that is going to make a difference as well, because we tried to explain this when we were doing the top 100 on the Facebook page about 2 years ago. We tried to explain it was based on your experiences, and everybody's experience was going to be different, and so there's no wrong answers to who.
Yeah, this is not the definitive top 100, because even amongst the three of us, we differ. You know, on who goes where.
So it's all subjective, basically. It's what you remember and what you've seen, and there's going to be some people that saw people in Portland that we didn't even see, and that's going to be tremendous. That's not going to make our list.
And California,
and
Canada. For sure.
Richard Hood, fellows, whose ideal was to break up Michael and Terry in 81? It was no one's ideal. They got mad. The Freebirds got mad when Buck Robley was fired. They gave their notice. Terry Gordy, Michael Hayes, and Buddy Roberts gave their notice. They went to Ole Anderson, and our father Ron West went to Terry Gordy and asked him would he stay wrestling in Atlanta, and he agreed to it, because this is what Terry Gordy has said he did not make any money while he worked for Bill Watts. He said they were packing the places and they were not being paid. He said the best money he had ever made up to that point was Georgia Championship Wrestling, and so he wanted to stay. Michael did not, because he wanted to. Anybody knows Michael Hayes will know that he's been asked to leave many places. So they didn't care that if he was going to be there or not. And Buddy Roberts just was mad because they got rid of Buck Robley. So because Buck Robley is the person who they'd only been together. Buddy Roberts had only been with them for a year. So it wasn't like Buddy Roberts was there and was long-term with them. And finally, George Scott comes in. I guess he gets in touch with Michael Hayes, or Michael Hayes gets in touch with him. I guess he got some payoffs from Ron Fuller, and he got some payoffs down in the because he went to Kansas City a lot. He got those payoffs and said, "You know what? I think I better get back to Atlanta." So you could get that, because they were probably making $1,000 a week at that point. But
you also had the beginning of the Ohio tours, and those were where the wrestlers were really racking it up.
They might have been making $1,500 to $2,000 when that was. So,
and we're talking about the Ohio Center in Columbus and Dayton arena, all selling out up there. I mean, they were selling out before they would get there. That's just how hot it was.
I don't know why they did the thing with Michael Hayes and they brought him. I don't know why they just didn't put him back together and manage Jimmy Snuka. I still don't get that. I don't know. I guess Michael Hayes wanted to do it. I guess he asked him to do it. Him and Terry wanted to work against each other, and I'm pretty sure they had great matches. I don't remember a lot of the matches that they had, but the ones I did see in Chattanooga, they were very good.
The ones that we had some in Gainesville, they were good. They were really good
because they knew each other. So they knew exactly how to work with each other. That's the best. That's who's going to have the best matches. Yes, Brent, the Cup brought the heat for sure. Yes.
And Terry's demeanor, he did it absolutely perfectly. You could not have asked for any better to tell that story. And Terry did a great job. Just a great job.
Michael Barr, just as I am bringing me 55-gallon drum, I'll laugh it off to all three of you. I could not imagine having my face rubbed on the concrete. Yes. Neither did Michael Hayes. I just didn't like that gimmick. I think that because I knew it happened in Mid-Atlantic, I thought, oh man, I don't know about this. This is just too close to what they did. Are we smartening up wrestling fans? Because
the folks in the office, specifically Ole, I guess, and whoever was running, didn't watch the tapes from the other territories. So if they heard it, I think in their mind, the fans wouldn't know about it.
Well, no, George was looking. And George,
okay. Yeah. But anyway, they, he's probably thinking these fans in Georgia never saw that. They never heard of that. Yeah. And there was a bit of truth to that back in those days.
The only problem is when you do it on TBS, it is worldwide.
Yeah.
People were watching it everywhere. And so I think that was one of the problems because we knew it was done and because it was on the magazines. It made the magazines, and once it made the magazines, and by the way, Pro Wrestling Illustrated was huge back in those days. I don't know how many magazines do you think they were selling?
I used to buy 6 a month. There was just all the folks at Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They had 4 or 5 different titles themselves. Inside Wrestling. I can't remember the other names that they had.
They selling millions of copies a month.
I think combined they probably were.
I mean, tremendous. And I know we bought them. We loved getting them and reading them. And they're kind of crazy, some of the stuff you read, but they had all the stuff in the magazines, and that's how people knew. I think you told the story. People knew how Tommy Rich was a bad guy in Memphis. Mm-hmm. Now they did talk about it when Tommy Rich returned, because he said it in his little special that he had done some things he wasn't proud of, and it was time for him to come back to Atlanta. So, people knew what was going on in other territories at the time. So I just thought that I think I had a problem with that because people knew what was going on. And I think our father might have also said, well, didn't we read the thing? And wasn't that all in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated? Make me deal at it. Okay, that is strange, Dad. Would be nice to go back in time and see all those great matches, no matter where they were held at. I bet the auditoriums were packed. Chattanooga never really did well in Chattanooga. Atlanta City Auditorium, when they lost it, was the worst thing that ever happened to Atlanta. I mean, it never did get over. Michael Barr asked the question, Rodney Brett, how many of those territories at the time did your dad work? I bet he enjoyed if he did. Yeah, he worked for Georgia Championship Wrestling for 11 years. Then he went to work for Southeastern Championship Wrestling. Ron Fuller, was not making any money whatsoever. When Wrestling 2 called him and said, hey, they're needing a referee in Louisiana for Mid-South Wrestling, he left. 2 weeks later, he left. He said, oh, yes, I'm going. And he went from making like $240 a week to about $2,400 a week. So there was a big difference in the middle of that. But he did go back and work again for about 6 weeks and left again when his money wasn't good, and went back to Mid-South Wrestling, went back to Alabama for 6 weeks, went back to Mid-South Wrestling, and then came to Continental. So he did a lot of moving. And then we went to Kansas City for a while in 1987. That was... I don't even want to talk about that time. That was pretty bad. WTBS, WTBI, when we had cable, we argued as to which channel of wrestling we were going to watch. I could see that. I could see that happening, especially when it was really getting over by then. Remember when Michael tagged with Otis Sistrunk? Yes. Yes, I do. Poor old Otis. Didn't make it long as a wrestler, did he? Mm-mm. I don't think Ole liked him. So the Freebirds said on national television when they get to Cincinnati, they're taking in the Reds game. And my cousin, he fans attendant and found them in the crowd. Probably was drinking during that time.
Well, they drank everywhere else, to be honest.
They lived that Freebird gimmick. Was it because Carl and Hildegard, how became famous for wrestling? Is it the
Hildegard? Carl and Hildegard, K&H Wrestling.
They made our father's when he went to Bobby Heenan. He would have some kind of, he had like a suit made, and Dad loved those. And he said, you know what? I could steal that and referee in that. Maybe that's the reason Bobby Heenan blamed Ole for him leaving. Maybe Dad said, we got to get rid of him so I can wear his stuff to referee. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because eventually Nick Patrick wears those same things, and Scrappy McGuy wears those things to referee. Great show tonight. Jack, Britt, Ronnie, God bless. Take care and have a safe rest of the week. Thank you so much. Rodney, any closing comments on the Fabulous Freebirds Part 7? Yes,
that'll be all for tonight. What's going to tell about Michael Hayes and his comment about he and Kevin Von Erich riding down the road together. I will not mention that because we have a family audience.
I forgot about that tonight. So, all right, folks. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for being a part.
We were after Kevin, and Kevin, don't ride with Michael. Don't ride with Michael. And Michael comes up, tries to shake our hands, and we don't want to shake your hand, mister.
We will have to talk about that on a real special show, what we said.
Yes, I have some stories too.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to do a special thing and talk and tell a lot of stories about what happened that we can't tell on these programs, because these shows do get on the YouTube channel. Thank you all so much. If you enjoyed this video of the Fabulous Freebirds Part 7, give us the big thumbs up or down, whichever way you think you liked it or didn't like it. Either way, it helps us. And do us one favor, hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know every time that we download or upload, I guess would be the right thing. I'm not doing very well today. I'm still upload a video and watch the video that's right there next to Rodney. It's the whole playlist of the Fabulous Freebirds from Part 1 to Part 6. Thank y'all so much. Jack, anything we need to talk about the Freebirds before we leave?
Nope. Just looking forward to the next episode.
Coming up soon, Part 8 of the Fabulous Freebirds. We'll see everybody. Thank you, all the insiders. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And if you'd like to support the channel, it's very easy. Go to the Facebook page, hit that, it's up top, become a supporter, and support the channel. $2.99 a month. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next video right here on Pro Wrestling Inside and Out.